those components all together. Monday for President's Day, I did watch a couple biographies and documentaries highlighting all of our presidents on the History Channel. I can tell you I'm full of a little bit more useless information now. I can share it at a later time, but we'll move on this morning. Tuesday, I listened in on a Make My Move webinar hosted by the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. Their community relations team and some area business leaders from the public and private sector were on. It's a good dialogue, a lot of good questions. Really hoping that's going to be a useful tool in their recruiting of new talent to the area. We've had over 320 applicants actually apply. I don't know if all of them fit the dynamics or not, but got down to 5 and then 2 actual ones that are in the process of moving. So that program's moving pretty good. Tuesday was also the monthly board of directors meeting for the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. After our call order, the agenda was approved and that the minutes were also approved from the December 16th meeting. They're not meeting monthly now, they're meeting every other month. So I'll start having 2 sets of those somewhere along the way. Got an update on the financials through January 31st, as well as all their membership accounts. Some general items, considered action on support for they're calling it the Kimball Project, but it's the Edge District. That was with John Connolly and Jason Smith. Discussed recruitment strategies related to MBAF. MBAF was also on that call on Tuesday and had a lot of questions. Had a debrief from the recent growth summit that many of us attended. There was also time for some board member comments. The staff gave their usual updates as well. Tuesday night, enjoyed some delicious pancakes from Pawnee Mental Health Pancakes for Pawnee. It was a beautiful night, but kind of windy to be out with the windows open, but got everything aired out, I guess. Food was great. Conversation was great. The line moved pretty quickly. I think if I heard correctly, as last night, they made over $15,000. It's still counting. So pretty successful for a local fundraiser. Wednesday afternoon, attended the monthly policy board meeting of the Flint Hills Metropolitan Organization. After a few welcomes and introductions, we had time for public comments, which there was none. Got a financial update as well as updates for the staff there and KDOT. Our action items included approval of the January meeting minutes, approval of the 2026-29 Transportation Improvement Plan Amendment number 3, approval of the safety performance measures, which we had a great discussion on. Also approval of the Unified Planning Work Program Amendment number 1. And then we approved myself being chair once again for the policy board in 26, and Gary County Commissioner Keith Asher as the backup as vice chair. Last 2 meetings have been pretty good. They've been attended by all of the jurisdictions. So Wamego, Junction City, and Manhattan, and then Gary, Riley, and Pottawatomie County. The conversation's been good, and I hope we keep that up when we meet once again in April. And that's all I've got.
Okay, Commissioner McKinley.
Well, I'm doing better now, but over the weekend I missed a lot of stuff. Had some family things going on and nobody wanted me around. They said, keep your germs at home. Tuesday was a law board and really nothing too much at the meeting, but we did have some discussions started on what we expect to see for the budget presentation this year. And like I say, watched the men had a great game. The women wiped somebody out. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the first quarter, it was over.
81% the first quarter they shot.
They were. That's all I've really got.
Okay, going back to last Thursday, in the evening, I attended a community meeting in Keats for information on the upcoming wastewater project. Myself, Amanda, and Brian Foster gave information on the project to the community members. Information included the project description, general construction sequence, discussion, construction considerations, and the project schedule. Project is currently out to bid with bid openings by us here at the BOCC on March 19th. So Amanda has not been contacted by Senator Moran's office on a potential grant, or has she?
Send me information because I'm meeting with either staff or him on Tuesday at
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get that taken care of.
Yeah, it'd be good to, and tell them they ought to make return phone calls.
Well, Brand's office has talked to me, but now it's up to EPA. It's supposed to be contacted. That's who they're waiting on.
And
Uh.
I'll be listening to the EPA director on Monday too,
Okay.
so.
Okay, good. We'll get something going, yeah. Okay, then Sunday evening, I attended the RCPD Employee Recognition Dinner and event at the Midwest Dream Car Museum. It was
I
really,
got an invite for that.
well, I had to dig for it, but.
Okay, it wasn't just- I was wondering.
I should have mentioned it, you know, we could have all got, Craig Beardsley was there, so I sat with him and, let's see, county, attorney was there with his wife, so, you know, there was some representation. Greg, you.
I had signed up for it, but didn't need to,
didn't see.
didn't need to be spreading.
Must have just.
RCPD recognition dinner. It was
Yeah.
a huge event. I mean, the room was
I've
packed.
been
with
at before.
But they usually send an invite to
Everybody.
everybody, and I didn't get anything, so
Well,
about that.
huh.
I would have went.
Yeah, it was good and good event. I always enjoy looking at the cars and there were a bunch of new ones in there. So it's good. Let's see, Tuesday, I too attended the law board meeting held at City Hall. We had a rather lengthy, but not too this I guess nothing really super important. It was good discussions, a lot of numbers. Especially we did talk about the budget items. So Wednesday, was downtown for an appointment, stopped by our offices. Nothing's done with carpet, but most of the lighting and ceiling tiles are complete. Looks really good other than the carpet. But, later, I did a long walk in Annenberg Park in the afternoon, enjoyed the unseasonably warm weather. And then in the evening, I went to Bell Choir practice and Ash Wednesday services. That's it for me.
For the business commissioners,
Yeah.
the first item we have, the motion on permanent sanitary sewer easement for University Park Lagoon project.
To approve the grant of permanent easement with David Cheezick for the University Park wastewater facility.
I'll second.
As we're moved and seconded to approve the grant of permanent easement with David Cheezick for the University Park wastewater facility. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign. Commissioner, the motion on tax roll corrections.
I'll move to approve the tax roll corrections.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the tax roll corrections. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
From the legal perspective, how to. Yeah. It was a 30-second, right? And that's the only thing I got. We might reach back out and try to. Before it becomes dangerous.
Commissioner need a motion on Riley County Employee Action Form for Michael Schuman, new hire volunteer firefighter, Fire District number 1.
I'd move to approve the requested employee action form.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the employee action form. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Briefly sign. Motion to approve payroll and accounts payable.
Motion to approve payroll and accounts payable.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve payroll and accounts payable. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All three, please sign.
Click this help.
No, not doing that. Ignore. I figured if we ignore it, it'd go away.
Any signatures? Oh, so this clip here is not helpful.
Just pulling it together.
Never worked for me.
We don't have a big enough clip.
I walked right into that one.
They'll not give me a softball by now. Oh, thank you.
Now doing that?
No, so, we have encumbrances, we spoke about.
Oh. Gotcha.
You can still charge back to someone to buy lawsuit, so. And then hopefully, when you come in, then we're good.
And soon we'll be talking about 2027.
It's your quick.
It does.
Do you have any changes in minutes, commissioners?
I didn't. Make a motion that we approve the minutes from the February 12th meeting of the Riley County Commission as written.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the February 12th meeting of the Raleigh County Commissioners. All in favor?
Any items, how about the tentative agendas of commissioners? Items for next week's press conference. Did get an email from the city manager's office regarding the request on the survey. They said, Aaron Stewart would be glad to come and make a presentation to the commissioners on that if you would like. I had one head shake yes, one's no.
No, I'm fine, that's fine. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
Yeah,
the one that frustrates me at this point in time is quite frankly, I can give a damn about the East Gateway. I'm just concerned about law enforcement over there. We need to have that
Right.
discussion.
Well, we did talk about that. We got some numbers.
I forgot to bring, yeah, I forgot to bring those, well, I've got them back there. So we did get some numbers about how much time is spent.
And I've got that in the packet.
Not as much as it was,
Well, but still.
but but this, yeah, this is only
Yeah.
a start.
We could probably average it out and see, and they do spend a lot of time there now.
But
I'm at a
that's
point where I'm
all.
gonna ask for an AG opinion on that, whether or not we should be paying for law enforcement in another county.
Yeah.
Fact,
Well, I disagree. Yeah, I totally disagree with paying taxes in, another.
I'm actually meeting with Barry this afternoon to discuss it,
Okay,
so. We can't get a solid answer from the city. That's the direction I want to go.
they don't want to talk about it with us.
Yeah.
Well,
That's great if they want to move eastward. That doesn't have anything to do with me other than the law enforcement side. And that needs to be figured out along the way.
Well, it would cost the taxpayers, we'd have to do a substation, we have to build a bigger jail, I mean, just all sorts of things.
Me, I also think it affects Potawatomi County going in reverse too.
Mhm.
So, I mean, they're sending their resources into the city. I think collectively we need to figure that out.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, no, I agree with you.
Okay.
That's, I forgot. Saying we didn't have much at law board, but I did it. I left the notes back there about how much it wasn't. She had the payroll dollars spent for each year versus what our their payroll is. It's like 1/4% of their payroll. But I'm thinking, well, you need to have it, it's what the percentage of the patrol is, but we don't have those broken out yet.
Well, when you increase 400 lots for construction and
Yeah. Oh,
700
yeah.
lots, 700 acres for commercial, it makes a big difference.
It does. Okay.
But anyway, yeah, if he wants to come and do a thing,
Get it scheduled.
yeah, that's good.
That it?
Okay, that's it. Yeah, it's past 9, okay.
Executive session.
Yep.
I'm moving the commissioners, including Chair Bowen, Vice Chairman Ford, and Commissioner McKinley, Jacob Hanson, County Councilor, Michael Hawthorne, Assistant County Councilor, and Amanda Webb, Planning and Development Director, recess into executive session pursuant to the attorney-client consultation exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. This is regarding confidential legal advice on sanitary code enforcement. The open meeting to resume in the commission chamber at 9:20 p.m.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded for the county commission to recess into executive session for the reasons previously stated under the attorney-client consultation exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good news.
Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. The Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Also move the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with a consensus reached in executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, Commissioners.
You're up.
Morning, James Brown, County Councilor, for administrative sessions. I have really two main points I'd like to just talk briefly about, regarding legislation. First, we can talk about I suppose, the more pressing legislation which passed, vetoed and then passed via that's been presented. I wanted to take some time to talk to you about some of the complications I see in enforcing this particular piece of legislation, with perhaps some speed recommendations to, at least from the start, how we can comply with this. And really the piece of language here that presents the most problems for interpretation is that the bill allows for enforcement against counties or obviously other municipalities for not taking, quote, every reasonable step to ensure an individual does not enter the limits of occupancy, private space, and that's all fine. So the question then becomes, well, what's every reasonable step? Not sure exactly where that line's drawn with this one. Legislature surely has not been that clear. You know, we'll do our best and probably to look at some of our statutes at least with kind of this writing vague reasonableness language. My initial reaction is to be at least some signage that we would post on any of the multiple occupancy private spaces.
But make it a multi-occupancy, just make it single
Yeah, I
with the lock on them and you put all the stuff in there, it takes care of everybody and one person's in there at a time.
yeah, as long as, I suppose as long as.
Problem
that's the
solved.
Case for us, I don't know if they have any bathrooms, that, or, stop watching.
Oh, yeah, sure, you do. But what's that?
What is this
Yeah, the
legislation?
bill is
Yeah.
HB.
Yeah, what is this legislation? Bring me up to there.
So.
I know it was about bathrooms, but I'm not sure what they
Yeah,
passed.
so this legislation states that, you know, we as county governments, there's a few different enforcement mechanisms, but. At least for county governments and public buildings, anything that meets a occupancy private space, which is defined in the statute. We have to ensure that individuals of the opposite sex don't go into those. We have to take every reasonable step. to ensure that. And that is going to apply to any bathroom that, you know, has more than one stall, which unfortunately kind of negates that approach of removing everything.
Take the stall and the extra toilets out.
I mean, you know, those are options.
I mean, to me, that's a simplistic way of handling it, just make it a single bathroom.
I don't know what the cost would be associated with that.
So if we have a women's bathroom, we have to post somebody outside there.
I see. It's
Well,
not,
I hope that that is not the expectation.
Shh.
We have to look at what that reasonable step is, and what the legislature has determined that reasonable step to be. And again, I think the best way that we could do that is just post a sign that says, hey, per statute, you know, whatever this ends up being. You know, you can't go into the bathroom. You know, I think that's gonna be fair minimum that we do.
Even if there's a line for your sex over here. You can't.
There's also, not only is there, you know, actions that should say there's severe penalties for violating the statute. They've allowed a little bit of back and forth, between us and the AG's office, lights mile, but I want to say the penalty was $100,000, $5,000.
Penalty for the first violation is $25,000, and every subsequent violation is $125,000. And each day a violation persists constitutes a new violation. Essentially, if you haven't taken those reasonable steps 2 days in a row, that's $150,000.
But we don't know what the reasonable steps are.
Yeah.
There we go. And then
I-
there's
nope,
This
also,
is what our tax
there's
dollars.
also civil enforcement against other individuals that can happen. An individual can private. That there's an individual that's in the bathroom, but in the opposite sex goes to they can be. Thankfully, that's not really involving us per se, but it's still, things that would be happening that involve grounds.
To me, that it's just cheaper to make them all single bathrooms.
I don't know how many we have, how many do we have, do you know? That are
We
multiple.
need to find out.
The women's on our main floor, the men's on the second floor, and I assume the women's on the second floor, and the men's and women's on the third floor of our building. Ours in elections is single, the ones in the community corrections floor, I think, are single.
They have to probably be for what they do.
So.
So
and
we
then
just-
Ours.
The commission ones are
in the commission
multiple.
chambers, those are all doubles.
So we have to take the sign off that says women's or men's, they have to be for anybody, is that?
No.
I don't understand this.
She said we have to take the signs off and say women and individual.
Yeah, and
No.
if they're single occupancy, it could be. Multi-
Oh, okay.
That's fine. As long as
And
it's
make a
single,
unigender sign and you can put
Well,
on there,
there's one right out here.
right,
Right. So single occupancy, that this doesn't apply to any, what they consider multiple occupancy, basically more than one person at the same time.
and that's
Or
the
lot.
way that's the simple way to solve the problem, just.
Might be cheaper just to put a sign saying according to this, and people are gonna say that's stupid, but that's what they're requiring. I mean, it's a response to all the nonsense that's gone on over the last few years.
Coincide with that nonsense, just put a sign on each one, enter your own risk.
To be frank, that's.
I mean, it's
Sorry.
lunacy, what's going on.
It's crazy.
But
crazy.
I think legally, it's protectors have to take the probably steps, and that's going to be, just one more cost-effective means by just, I mean, it doesn't have to be fancy fire.
Until somebody decides to just disobey it for disobeying's purpose.
Right, well.
And if somebody's obnoxious about it, then we can take other steps, but
Yeah.
This hasn't passed yet though, correct?
No,
Yeah.
it did. Yesterday, they overrode the veto.
Oh, they did override it?
Yeah.
Okay, I knew they were gonna attempt.
And it'll be.
Michael, you really need to be up there when you're talking to the board.
So the bill will take effect once it's published in the Kansas Register.
So it's not July 1st.
Now, so
No, it's-
they're
it's-
fixing it. Probably, it's probably gonna take effect, I think, the 26th of this.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
So we probably need to do signs at least to start, so.
Just for the record, our new EMS station on the admin side, this is gonna affect them.
yeah.
So because they're occupancy for 2 people on each side, so in each restroom.
Again, I think the easiest way for us to protect ourselves legally is going to be a quick draft of a little blurb that we put on bathroom doors. Saying, this here's the statute. Here's how you need to comply with said statute. Until we see or hear any additional information on how they really want this, what's again, at a reasonable step. That's going to be.
That's gonna be the problem. They're done with it this year. They'll come back and maybe revise it next year, but that doesn't help us.
Yeah. So. That's where we're at. Any particular questions? Or other
It's just
questions regarding
absurd.
the statute?
Like I say, it just seems more economical to just put up signs that people won't pay any attention to anyway, but that's a reasonable thing. Like I say, if you have a complaint, then maybe we can do something else, but until we hear complaints, I don't see anything more than the signs needed.
Post,
We can reevaluate to.
post the bill, huh?
Compliance or that comes through, we evaluate on a case by case basis.
Signs are fine for the moment, but I still think we need to start evaluating it outside of that, because
Why?
we'll end up with a complaint.
Well,
I think so.
I don't know.
So, I'll get back to you guys on what kind of, put together a little bit of, like, some of the, goals here, we can distribute that out, all the department heads, so they can go along, I guess, if necessary.
Really, you give it to Public Works, they're in charge of facilities.
So,
That's a good question. And so what did you say they were gonna do for multi-stall bathrooms?
yeah, multiple occupancy private spaces is the technical term. And that requires that any individual from the opposite sex can't enter into what's been designated as a multiple occupancy private space.
So it doesn't affect the multiple, it's just something.
Doesn't affect the single, only affects the one. Is the protection. I'm gonna.
A single would be only one person could actually be in there at a time anyway.
Right.
Multiple, you would have that interaction. It's the interaction they're trying to get rid of. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
But I would guess over 90% of who use those are employees. I doubt if it's many public people using our facilities.
likely true.
That is probably right.
So, you know,
Signs are
and
fine.
unless we've had a problem with somebody before, I don't, you know, they put up a sign that, like I say, nobody will see, but
Do we
you know, what's that?
statutorily have to provide public bathrooms?
I don't know, I don't think there's a requirement that we have to provide, I mean, no, I wanna say. Maybe.
Go out back,
municipal,
right?
You know, building codes that have to check maybe a couple things,
I would guess the ones in the commission are used more by the public than any place else. Not used often.
First floor is upper art lobby.
Oh, is there?
Sure.
What about, how does that affect ADA requirements?
There's a specific exemption, it'll just state that nothing in this new bill affects our obligation to file ADA requirements. Shouldn't be any worry there.
So if you have an ADA stall and you have another stall, it still has to be same sex.
yeah, that is an interesting question.
No, your single stall, if you had a single stall, would just have to meet ADA requirements and it's solved.
I'm saying if you've got two, you got an ADA and a sink and a stall, you know, then what? And there's no other ADA stall available, then what?
Yeah, necessarily, but I think it's clear with the statute.
Well, okay, it was just,
Yeah.
No, you can't get along in a public space in that environment, maybe it's time to just close them.
so is this only for
A
public?
messy situation.
Yeah,
We can just put individual out,
yeah.
porta johns outside the door.
Worked for KU football for 40 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I guess that's something too. So it's public access, so can you limit yours to employee access only? And how does that change it?
Well, and think about then Potter Fall
yeah.
was another one.
Yeah, I mean, how
That would
a
be
large
better.
venue is gonna address it?
I don't
That's,
know,
I mean,
'cause- Well,
think of any event center.
look
how
at
are
the
they gonna-
football stadium, I
There's
mean,
no
that's what
way.
I'm saying.
You'll
Let's-
end concerts. You'll end
Yeah.
football games.
I imagine
Football
they'll
games.
do a similar thing, put up plaque and then just hopefully everybody complies. I honestly don't know what more you could do without
I
becoming.
think in today's
extremely
environment, you're gonna have a
invasive.
group that's not going to comply purposely.
So,
I don't know who
Well,
that'll affect.
It's the only way you challenge the laws.
it's possible it could still be challenged. Just being unconstitutionally vague, and I haven't seen anything come up yet. You know, obviously the challenge should, put that, should stay that going into effect. But we'll monitor, of course, if any of that happens. I imagine there's a few probably interested public groups that will wanna do that.
Oh,
I would
absolutely.
not be surprised.
People will be coming out with guidance, for sure.
So this is only for public spaces, not for
Public.
private. Okay.
And with that.
Another unfunded mandate.
One other bill that I wanted to talk about briefly while we're up here, that's kind of gotten some legs. I don't believe it's passed out of the first chamber yet, which today is crossover day. So anything that doesn't get out of, their first chamber is gonna be
Except for-
fairly dead in the water, except for some exceptions.
Except for tax and appropriations.
Yeah, and so we have House Bill 2745.
And that's in-house tax.
And this is an interesting piece of legislation which allows for a protest petition to be available for tax increases that are above 3% of the previous year.
Oh, it's a petition, or you actually have to put it on the ballot and let them.
That's the
No,
question.
it's-
They're switching it to a
it's-
petition.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that.
Because enough people hollered about the fact that you can't do an election.
Exactly.
Well, I wouldn't know how that would work anyway when our budgets are due to be certified on October 1st.
I know, and that's
Well,
what what the cities and county, the election people went to them saying, it can't be done without special elections every year.
I mean, if you had that in November and you moved it to December 1st or something, then you've got small counties and small cities that don't have the staff to.
You don't
Get
have
that
the
done in
time
time.
anyway,
Right.
you don't have the time to do an election, to balance and certify a tax roll, to generate tax statements, to distribute, it can't work on a calendar
Right.
unless you back everything up.
Right. Or you
And so-
were forced to do the election in August, but there's still municipalities in particular that don't have their budgets done by August.
Remember, you have the election day,
Right,
then you gotta certify the election.
right.
It just don't work on a calendar.
So they moved to a protest petition instead of submitting it.
So how does that work?
So a protest petition has to be signed by 10% of the signatures from the previous presidential election. Right now, that's the baseline for what will count.
So let's hypothetically say that occurs, then what?
So that occurs, a protest petition is filed, and then
You check the signatures.
there's a statute that requires the county council to review protest petitions for validness. So I'll do that when those come through, and then determine whether or not it's valid. If it's valid, then you're capped at that 3%.
Oh, okay.
That's the part I wanted to know, okay.
And there are some, I will say there's plenty of nuance and exceptions within the calculation of how that 3% is calculated.
Well, sure.
So it's not just a blanket, for as long as it's 3% more than the budget last year, it's gonna be a little more nuanced than that.
10% of the electors of the presidential election.
Previous president.
That's a large number.
That's why they went to instead of the other one.
10%, 20%, but.
10% is a large number.
Yeah, presidential election.
So.
That's your largest participation election.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's why they picked that,
It's probably why they picked 10% plus presidential rather than 20% in the last general.
Yeah, 20% in the last general will be a lot less on everything except the presidential.
You think they would go with your municipal elections?
I
since they're
know.
all municipal.
Why is this? I don't bother.
There's.
They even
We'll see
bother.
how much it has.
It's in the House right now, I guarantee you.
More
it's destroyed
important
in the
things to
Senate,
deal with.
Cause they've got a whole different vision on how that's.
But given
Supposed to be.
the fact that it's just an interesting development, obviously in our property tax West here legislature, I wanted to share that update. We're keeping an eye on it. We'll continue to do so. I don't have any other, those were really the only two major bills I wanted to bring up at the time. I'll watch of course to see what makes its way through turnaround day. And we can have a little bit more in-depth discussion about any of the bills that are survived last month. Any questions? Any questions for us?
No, I think that's enough.
Very good. Thank you.
Time for David to have commissioners.
I'm ahead. There it is.
Or you can just go back and click on the staff update button there. I try to help you out, David, but you know, sometimes it's just difficult.
Oh. I'm right, you did that as the emergency director here with my ambulance update. Every year, I'm just the first to update because I'm the third Tuesday and January first is the holidays.
Oh.
But I put these all into one, little update. I'm looking at 10 minutes, so I'll just kind of the highlights. So January, December of 2025, 550 calls for service, which is a pretty high number for us. You see the breakdown, nothing out of the ordinary there at all. So between stations and such.
You do have 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think you have 20. That's a,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to be sure you knew.
No, I didn't,
You-
thank you. I read 950. So the breakdown, nothing out of the ordinary there. So back in the January, we started that transition. I started even as wise with Josh and Alan taking over some of my AP and such and scheduling, we work for payroll. So they continue to work on that. They've got a really good handle on it. Now we're just kind of fine tuning some of the nuances with both payroll as well as the AP that just comes with experience. You know, every month there's always something a little bit off, but by and large, they've taken all of that over. I don't do anything with the double checking and signing off on things at the end, so. And then they have in turn transitioned to some of their smaller items to the shift supervisors, what they really needed to be anyway, so. That's working well, we're moving right along, I'm very happy with where we are from the EMS standpoint. There'll be those one-time things that we'll have to work through. But when we do our annual licensing with the state in April, you know, I'll show them and they'll have it in no time. So I've always made really good notes of all of these things, so I remember how to do them. I've kept old files, so I know exactly, you know, so it's a lot of it is cut and paste. There's some new information, but it's stuff that I would have to get that information from them anyway, so. But and have been working with emergency management prior on the transition as well as some training. So I've got all but 3 of my mandatory emergency manager classes done. The next 3 are in person. I've got the next 2 I'm signed up for both of them. I have to do one in March, which will then allow me to do one in April, and then there'll just be 1 class left. And then you have to have 80 other hours of classes, and I'm sitting at like 41 hours or something. So I gotta get through these, then I'll get that training knocked out, no big deal. Part of my job description going forward was I had to have a certain class of ICS 400. I've completed that, it's been verified, so that's taken that off of my required job description. That's been done, so. But attending some meetings, learning kind of how they do things, and that I probably would need to do after I get through this education, so we'll see them and understand what they're doing, and we'll have feedback for them on some of my things, my thoughts on those. But doing that, we finished, end of year inventory was submitted, no issues there. Josh has a great handle on that, and again, and some things need to push down to some of the supervisors to go around to the stations to, you know, verify that the equipment is there. Our shift captains are in that highly effective managers program, showing well, they're learning lots and they're really getting to spend time with other staff that they don't, you know, within the county that they don't normally have, so. You know, you get out what you put into it, I think they're putting in good effort. They talk about it, they talk to me about it, and things that they've learned, and now a couple of them made comments, and now I understand why you do what you do. So, you know, there's a method to the madness, if you will. So, mental health working group and task forces, and then observing field performance, that Alex and Josh both really get out there and spend time with the crews. You know, Josh went to one yesterday, he was on his way to work. call was 20 blocks away, so he went to the call, you know, so that's how they kind of do that. But they'll go, you know, Alex will go out in the middle of the night, you'll hear some calls going on and say, hey, that's close by, I want to go see that. So he'll get up in the middle of the night, he'll go to those calls. And then, he's back in at 8 o'clock, maybe sometimes not as chipper as others, but he's in there, and so they get their work done, but then they also see how our staff are doing. So in December, we had 12 event standbys, K-State basketball, some indoor track and field, and then the commencements at the end of December, so. Education wise, not a whole lot going on other than Alex did put out our training calendar for 2026 for staff. So they can plan accordingly. There are classes that they have to have, sometimes it's every 2 years, some are every 4. So here's when those classes are available, it's up to you to make yourself available to get, you know, get that required training done. And then community outreach, we were part of the Festival of Lights Parade. They had a lot of fun with that. Josh and I bought them pizza. The people came in to decorate the ambulance. We bought them pizza and such, and let them do that. All off duty. No, we didn't pay for that. That was all volunteer time. What they do is like they enjoy it. So, break out the call line. You know, as I always say, the first of the week is always because of those calls are people who've been sick all weekend, and then they, you know, too sick, you know, keep thinking they'll get better, and then they don't get better. And then Friday and Saturday, you know, those call lines in the night, you know, whenever you're supposed to be sleeping, we have that opportunity, if you will. So, you know, 17 calls, you know, at 1 a.m. to 2 o'clock, and then from 2 to 3. There's no surprise the correlation there with the revelry that occurs in the town sometimes, so.
Dave,
Sure.
could you compile a year total for those?
I can,
That, you know, it'd be interesting just to see
yes,
how many, because I think people will be astounded how, I mean, 550 months sounds a lot, but when you took it to the year numbers, it's gonna be amazing. Okay.
and going on.
Didn't get there.
I kind of put that on pause, I'll give you a year today, or a 2025 year summary.
Okay.
And I'm even go back, because we've got a lot of spreadsheet, it's not.
That's why I figured you probably had them
Yeah,
somewhere,
yes, we-
but I think it'd just be interesting to see the yearly totals.
So, on that, and then I put that on pause, because the guys who do that for me, I've got them getting, learning new processes, they've gotten much quicker now,
Yeah.
But yes, I'll have that for you next month. So, breaking my complaints, sick person, cold and flu season. It's just, what they call it, in the healthcare realm, they call it general malaise. I just don't feel good. You know, I've got aches, pains, chills, you know, my bones hurt, you know, so, fall's very common this time of year, a little ice, a little snow, you know, every snowfall, we have people who, you know, they've got to check their meat. You know, or walk their dogs, or whatever the case may be. It's like, you know, it's 10 degrees outside, there's something to be okay. You know, but they're determined, you know, they're gonna walk their dog and things like that. So you look into no parent choice, I'm not quite sure what that was, so where that. We use the state system, the state template, and sometimes these things come across and we can't figure out what that means, so. But any questions about December? Okay. So calls for service in January, 510, down 40 from December. But still, that's a higher than average number for us. The numbers were different, and 153 calls for service at the headquarters station, but 180 in the planes. So part of that correlates to the one individual we spend time with. I believe in December they may have had some help where they lost that help, and so we average about 3 calls a day to the residents. So But you know, some of these others, we haven't been able to really pinpoint where those calls are. It's just kind of, it was random. There was not cluster of 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. It was just some randomly, we were busier. It may be, that, you know, just the demographics of that station during the winter, you know, so. And the same thing for the airport. The airport, they did more transfers. They were the first best transfers every day. We had higher number of transfers. Those are tied in full flu season, you know, RSV, you know, things like that.
You had 2 from Florence.
What's that? I'm sorry?
You had 2 from Florence.
Yeah, so, but usually those transfers, that's what they're tied to. I mean, you still have your people who need neurological help, you know, or cardiovascular or whatever. But colds, flus, RSV, things like that. Really, this is what has spiked station 4 in the month of January. Here I've given a little bit more breakdown of what I'm doing with my training and with the transition. So I talk about the required training, the additional done. Position descriptions, we worked a lot with Elizabeth, she's been fantastic. And the fire chiefs, Doug and Jake Russell. So my position description is done. Fire leadership, we met with them a week ago. Last Friday, we're 95% done. We just have to change a couple of wordings. Because we needed their input on how exactly we want this worded. You know, so, but everybody's in complete agreement. We just need to spend 10 minutes, get in there, put in the correct wording for some of these different job expectations, and those will be completed. So now we're working on defense division and deputy chief's position descriptions. So they have theirs. They're just putting some nuances on it. They submitted to myself and Elizabeth. We'll get those knocked out. We have a timeline. I think it's the end of March is the goal. We'll be done, I believe, before then. Really, it's up to Elizabeth. Yeah, so we're starting getting personnel budgets and such. That's when we start pulling her a little bit, but we're close. As a collective, no changes to the emergency manager or the planner position descriptions, because those didn't change. So, and then we're working on combining some software between our 2 agencies that will help with some money savings, but also helps with us just being more consistent and congruent across both agencies, EMS and fire. The mental health working group and task force, as I stated, is kind of on hold right now. We try to attend to the meetings, kind of hit and miss and such, especially on the task force side. We're still available, but those are just kind of, you know, we're members, but we're not the ones who put these together. So, and then event standbys. 7 basketball games and then indoor track. So the basketball games numbers go down when we get into league play, because half the games are now away games. Where back in November and December, where they had out of league games still that were a lot of home games. So that's why that number kind of changes, is because now they're in the league play. Education, Alex met with all 3 MFD shifts last month to discuss various treatment protocols and our thought processes on some of these. I had spent some time with Chief French from MFD last week. He was just very, very happy with how Alex put these together. And because sometimes when we have treatment plans, because they have to follow protocols that we give them, there start to be questions. Well, you know, I read this, or I've heard of this, or why don't we do it this way? So sometimes he has to go and just have those conversations with their shifts and say, this is why we're doing it the way we're doing it. This is what we worked with our medical director, what best practice, and what works for our community. So that's what that was. But he would spend 3 days, you know, good 2 or 3 hours with them and have those conversations and educational time. And so the Chief French was very, very happy with that. he also had his quarterly call review with Dr. Bennett and staff, where our supervisors can flag a call and say, hey, this is kind of unusual, like Dr. Bennett to look at it. And then we also have criteria, which it's leveled up for Alex to spend more time looking at these calls, and then he will pull someone out and have Dr. Bennett look at it, something for our staff to talk about. So he did that, good participation with the staff. They get a lot out of those times, so. So he did that, that was his quarterly and towards the end of January. Breakdown of call volume is typical, so, you know. Monday, Tuesday, call volume went back down a little bit. As we have warmer weather, so, people get out and about a little bit, and then illness kind of take a corresponding dip as well. But we pick right back up on Friday and Saturday. So, hourly range. And then following by the stations, so, and then if you see in the top 5 response reasons that no current choice, we haven't. Trying to figure out what that state system pulled for that, I just don't understand what that is, but, otherwise, sick person fall, breathing, nothing really out of the ordinary in there. That's what you have questions? Thoughts?
Have you seen the Olympic ambulance curling?
Yes.
I saw one yesterday. I mean, you've seen it. They got guys standing back at the back of the station with the gurney, and they give it a push, and there's people out there in front of it with brooms pushing it, and so it goes in, it locks into the.
It's cool.
In Texas or?
I don't remember where it was, but I saw it yesterday.
Guys got years to practice.
Curling is pretty fun.
You give them ideas. I could keep the station dog, in that discussion. Pull them back. So,
Station dog.
yeah.
Might be one just show up at the doorstep.
And then they'll go to somebody's house.
We know their days are out of town. It'll be.
The staff will want the dog, but guess who's gonna take care of it?
You're a cat person, aren't you? Oh, gotcha.
That's true.
So that's who's gonna take care of it, no.
Well, if you do adopt one.
You can do
But-
a lot.
Yes.
Have that conversation.
Yeah.
But. So, anything else?
Like I say, it was pretty funny. They shoot that, and then to see if they can line it up and latch in.
I I didn't see that.
Yeah.
One guy sheltered another guy.
Oh, I didn't see all that. There's been some others too. I saw one, somebody had, what are those Roombas, the same thing in their house. They, because it's set to come, it'll return to the thing. So they do that, and then there's somebody else in front of it with the broom watching it as it goes back and sets into its seat. No,
That was great. That's,
come on.
Thank you.
All right.
I heard the thing that they were investigating corruption in curling.
Well, they had-
So slow.
There was a big deal over cheating.
Cheating.
Yeah, that one of the others accused the other people of cheating and stand out there on the floor cussing at each other. I didn't see it. I read it.
Yeah.
But
But then,
Cheating and curling.
how you doing? Oh, good.
well, because they held on, or touched it, there's a line, they touched it as a pet, and showed his finger might have, as it let go of it, his finger touched it as it passed the line.
Oh, gee.
That's good.
Well, it's all on ice. I don't know how they do that, so,
You ready for Daniel Commissioners?
yeah.
What's up with the motion of the whole?
Michael, can you tell them that?
good morning. I mean, I don't like my reports often sounding like a news press release, so this first one kind of is. Really cool, so I'll try and be less boring after this first one. But this last weekend was actually an all-office effort with the 4-H showcase and citizenship in action. This past weekend, nearly 100 Riley County 4-H youth participated in the 4-H Youth Showcase. This is an annual event purpose-built to increase communication and presentation skills of our local 4-Hers. This year was held at Riley County Middle School, and the event engaged 4-H in a number of judged learning opportunities, including but not limited to public speaking, media presentations, demonstrations, and impromptu talks. One thing I didn't have on here also was pickle talks, where they get a topic, they have to give an impromptu speech over it, and for doing it, they get a pickle on a stick as a reward. Apparently that's a hot topic. As well, judging competitions were held to increase curiosity and build interest in different areas, including livestock skill fund, horticulture, family consumer science, and photography. So really a broad range of judging opportunities for learning. Families and 4-Hers in attendance also had opportunities to gain STEM experience via a hands-on expo that was sponsored by a local group of 4-H volunteers. So the adults had like STEM activities and expo set up, so kids had everything from the speaking presentations to the judging competitions to a STEM expo. It really was a full office, full day event up there at Riley Middle School. And as if that wasn't enough for the weekend, on Sunday, 10 4-H youth headed to Topeka for citizenship in action. This is an awesome event where they went with John Joe, a 2-day event where they get to go to the Capitol and learn about the legislative process, how it works, how they can be active in it, and just get to familiarize themselves with how they can take action as citizens. I highlighted this event as the first night they actually get to go into the chambers at the state capitol and have a debate. And so I think this year they're debating technology with youth and things like that. So like real world issues in a real world chamber, it's a cool opportunity for these kids. And so it's a highlight of every winter.
We had a pretty good conversation on technology this morning.
Wow. So that was the big event of last weekend with showcase and citizenship in action. As well, I think some of you might have been here. RCLA, Riley County Livestock Association, just had their annual event. Over 100 Riley County producers attended this event at Seco Park over in Potter Hall on January 26th. This is a volunteer-run organization, but our ag agent, Lindsay Shorter, serves as an advisor to the board and works hand in hand with them. The meeting served as a celebration of area livestock producers, including, of course, their annual steak meal, an educational program, and fundraiser auction. This year, we had K-State entomologist Cassandra Olds, who presented on the Asian longhorn tick. I stepped in for a few slides because I was getting ready for rodeo meeting. I saw things on a slideshow that should never be on a slideshow.
You're right.
But it was a very educational event. And the night ended with a fundraiser auction to benefit RCLA 4-H scholarship. The group was able to raise $4,000 to go to the local youth going into agriculture for scholarship. And so those are some things going on, but one class some of you might be interested in is Greg Eyestone will be hosting home landscape design. And he's doing this through the UFM to get help them out and do a broader audience. And this will be on Thursday, February 26th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Now this is news to me, but according to Greg, outdoor living spaces are just like the interior. We have family rooms and dining rooms and living areas, and it's all broken up. So this class is here to teach you how to do it and what it should look like in areas that may be updated or created. So this will be a very personal class that Greg will guide these learners who sign up through this about the steps of updating your exterior and how to do so. And the research and extension part of it for sure. Doing so has been shown in research that you can increase your property value by 7 to 15% when selling it if your outdoor areas are updated and looking nice. Those interested can register through the UFM website. However, we'd like to remind everyone that just because you can't make the class, our agents are here to get called. So those who want to talk to Greg can call our office and quite frankly any of our agents and talk to him for a one-on-one visit. Our agents love going out on the consultation visits. So just because someone can't make this class, get a hold of us and he'll come out and see you and talk with you. And finally, another class that's coming up before then is the Youth Lawnmower Clinic. Partnership between Greg Eyestone of Horticulture, our 4-H agent John Joe, and the Manhattan Optimist Club. This is a cool program because it's all things lawn mowing for youth. lawn mowing safety, the horticulture side of lawn mowing, as well as the business side of lawn mowing. So this is for the ages 4th through 6th grade where they come and their parents can let them go just so they know they're being safe. But they can also get a little insight of how they can be entrepreneurs with the lawn mowing business. So once again, this is in partnership with Optimus, but it's a really cool opportunities for these kids getting started. Registration is online at raleigh.ksu.edu. And that is a kind of whirlwind of some things going on. I don't have my official update. I'll bring it again next time. Also, as we have mentioned on the side, we have a K-State specialist. I was fortunate enough that we're going to bring it in on March 31st to do a grant writing clinic. And we're really trying to get that out to our local nonprofits and government officials and workers. So I'll bring more information on that next month. I just want to plant the seed here, guys, find that information will be out very soon for a local grant writing clinic. And a lot of folks we work with might be able to do it. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Daniel.
Daniel, good weekend. Barry, you have any issue with taking Mr. P? Now?
No, I think that would,
Good.
do you wanna,
Yep.
are you ready to go?
Hey, ready to go?
Good morning, members of the commission, Mr. Margo, Johansson, Brian Beaton, the Raleigh County Police Department. Just wanted to give you all a quick heads up, notification as to what our stats are. It does really not much for us to report at this particular point in time, but we'll go through things. So for our part 1 crimes, we were about 23.4% below the 5-year average. Compared to January, however, there was a 1.3% increase. That was one above the 5-year minimum, but you all may remember there was a homicide that did occur. The individual who we believe is committed the crime has been arrested. So they're currently within the jail system now. For our part 1 violent crimes, we were about 25% below the 5-year average as well. There were 8 aggravated assaults or batteries, fortunately 2 sexual assaults. No robberies and no homicides reported during January. For robberies, there were no robberies reported in the January timeframe. Moving on to aggravated assaults and batteries, there were 4 aggravated assaults, 1 aggravated battery reported in the month of January. This was about 15% below the 5-year average. There were 8 incidents above those, of those 8 incidents, 4 were domestic relations. For our property crimes, we were about 23% below the 5-year average. For January, it included 6 burglaries, 7 larcenies for motor vehicles, 5 auto thefts, 1 arson incidents, and the rest were larcenies. 47 incidents of it. Again, with the autos and the thefts and everything else like that, I'll talk about again larcenies. Want to remind folks the majority of larcenies that we're seeing for motor vehicles and motor vehicle theft, they don't involve vehicles being locked. They involve vehicles being unlocked. So we again want to push out to folks, please lock your vehicles, please keep your possessions out of sight. And if you choose to carry a firearm or bring a firearm in your vehicle, which is again a constitutional right, that's even more of a reason for people to lock their vehicles. You don't want to put yourself or anyone else in a situation that somebody may steal that weapon and use it in furtherance of another crime or something to that effect. And I say this because obviously we've had several incidences in the last couple of months in which individuals had their weapons stolen out of their vehicles. So please, please, please have folks lock their weapons or lock their vehicles, especially, and secure their weapons. As I mentioned before, with robberies and violent crimes. For our motor vehicle thefts, we have 16.7% decrease. In January of those thefts, 2 were stolen by unknown suspects and later recovered. 1 was found in Potawatomi County, and 1 was found on the Farm Bureau Road.
Two were taken by known individuals and returned. One was broken rental agreement from Hertz. So 5 of the 5 vehicles were recalled. For DUIs, they were 32.9% above the 5-year average of January. I do want to mention with DUIs that Major Hike and his team have an assertive plan and what we're doing to do traffic enforcement, to identify individuals who may be driving intoxicated. And we're using it again, because we're data driven and looking at the data, the times of occurrence, the dates of occurrence, looking at traffic incidences and complaints. So we are pulling all that stuff together. I will say again, RCPD does not, and I repeat, does not do cold assistance. However, our officers are held to a standard. We realize that traffic safety is important, because even the most innocent people can be hurt if we're not enforcing traffic out there. So our officers have stepped up and they are doing traffic enforcement. So we'll put that out there to the community.
Director,
Yes,
they need to make a suggestion on one.
yes, sir.
If you can get an officer for a couple of days over on Eureka Drive at about 4:30 in the morning.
Eureka Drive, sir.
4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we go to work at 5 and people are starting to turn that into a drag strip.
Are you winning?
I'm
Don't
not.
answer that.
I'm not. I may occasionally drive a little over the speed limit, but I'm not flying down there 60, 70 miles an hour.
Definitely, that's on my list to do.
Okay.
For structural burglaries, we're 53% below the 5-year average for January. We had 1 burglary, that was a domestic related burglary. There's been an arrest in 2 of the burglaries that we've had in the past as of the 9th of February, and we don't see any suggestible patterns or anything that it's a handful of individuals that are going from place to place. We have no evidence to support something like that. These were one off. Other than that, I did want to note as we look at our mental health calls for service, we're seeing something kind of a little bit different. We don't think that we're accurately collecting that data, so we're going back to our systems and trying to figure out how many mental health related calls we've had in the past and how we're going to make sure we accurately document that those mental health related to that call for service moving forward. So the numbers that I've given you all, they seem a little low, because I would gather to say at least 40%, around 40% of the call for service that we deal with do have some type of mental component related to them. So we will be working on that to get that data to you all soon. The final 3 things to mention to you all are just again for our jail. We can't thank the county enough for all of the help and support that the team has been giving us. We made some very big improvements over the last couple of years under the leadership of Major Mark French and Deputy Director Aaron Friedline. And like even just now, I went down there before I came here to tour the facility again. The RFID component that we just recently installed that we've paid for through inmate funds is astounding. This is again in response to something that we've known that we need to get stronger on as we go by and we conduct checks on individuals, especially for folks that are in high watch. And I'll bring that back to the suicide that occurred in custody. The RFID system brings a different level of accountability for us and reduces liability. So this is something that we're really excited about. Training begins next week for all of our staff, and we incorporate that fully. It has been installed, and we installed that ourselves again to reduce costs. Want to also say that we had one grant from the governor's office for crisis response and intervention. In this particular case, the federal agencies or the federal government provides each state with an X amount of money. Then the governors of those respective states figure out what their mental health priorities are going to be, and they open it up for skip grant funding. We did apply for 1 year for July, which coincidentally is something that we're also looking at for the homeless task force. There's a lot of the July system is based on mental health and crisis response and giving people resources they need. So for example, if I had a mental health crisis and officers came and they noticed that in my home, I had the food, babysitting, meeting all kinds of other different resources for and the instead of officer just saying, okay, we're gonna deal with the immediate crisis now and let folks know, and everyone is extraordinarily small, right? The system, it gives an alert, so they'll all think of it and say, okay, Brian needs X, Y, Z, and then messages will be sent out, Meals on Wheels, senior citizens, because I am old. And all kinds of other different community resources that will rally around me, my support, to help me so that it reduces the level of crisis calls for service. So we're extraordinarily excited about that. And we'll see if the system also, then some creating as we research other potential internal communication systems between stakeholders, to see if that will improve our intelligence task force. And finally, we have worked with the, well, no, not finally, I need to also tell you about the trafficking task force, but we have been working with our partners in HSI and security. Now, before folks out there in the public think, oh, God, they're working with the governor, things like that. So we do work with our federal partners at home. But for the record, HSI is a different component than ICE or customs enforcement. HSI is the investigative branch of it. We're working with HSI and doing training for our SWAT team. So between KBI, KBI, HSI, and our CPD, we do a training here in the next few weeks in Riley County. And this is to ensure that we work very well with cities together for anything, especially because of the amount of critical infrastructure here. And as I mentioned, the law board earlier this week, I think it's a testament to the trust and faith that our state and local federations have. This department's professionals who's training. And then so finally, with the direction from the law board as well as from the city commissioners and the county commissioners, we're looking at human task force operations, and we put a precedent on that, and we're moving towards trying to work with state agencies as well as the chiefs, the sheriffs, Kansas, to see if there's a possibility for us to look at a human trafficking, statewide trafficking task force. The API has to lead on that, and it's something they're really passionate about, and that is that situation to help and provide guidance and thank for all of the agencies in the state. So we're supporting them in their efforts and doing everything we can to bring that into that includes ready deterrence here to run again. Other than that, I stand for the question.
I had somebody ask me a question and I couldn't quite answer it, but how do you guys go about forcing school zones?
Enforceable school zones for
During the day when you have the 20-mile-an-hour.
Speed.
so software work being.
Yeah.
So yes, it's so normally we don't unless we see data that suggests we get a certain level of lights in schools, then we'll have officers in those areas doing those times, but normally we don't have enforcement or regularly or routine enforcement conditions. But that's very much another good point Commissioner did want to address. Seeing on social media, there's a lot of questions and complaints that folks have made regarding RCPD participating in K9 sweeps, if you will, at the high school. This, for the record, this is something that the department has done for many years. It's not anything new. It's not a conjunction or some crackdown, state or federal crackdown. And we don't have the authority to do that. That has to be an invitation from the school. And we do have very strong, I think, relationships with the school and UST 383, Eric Reed over there, and they have the best interest of the students in mind. So they're not coming in there to stop CBP and then trying to grab some minor infractions or anything like that. Majority of times, if anything's found, it's the school is going to work with that individual who may have had it, looking for substance abuse issues, how they do background services with families, how do they do those different types of things. So I want folks to know that we're not looking at it strictly as a law enforcement thing. We're looking at it as an opportunity to keep kids safe, to keep drugs out of school, but also to help people being help substance abuse.
I saw the school zone enforcement being enforced on my way here today. successful.
Well, nobody was complaining or anything, they just figured that you might do that a little bit differently than you would do regular, I don't want to say speed traps, but speed type enforcement, because it's not all day, it's, an hour and a half or something in the morning and an hour and a half in the afternoon if.
And
I
every
said-
time I travel Anderson, in that speed zone, after Annenberg Park, there's always somebody speeding. Yeah, always,
Yeah, that's
every time. And it's really a bad area. This morning it's got,
Yeah,
Why?
the thing with that too is, it goes from the 2 lanes to the 1 lane
Yeah.
there. And it's the signage is just kind of strange how it goes from 30 to 40 just like that.
I will bring this back to the team.
yeah,
Discuss it. Oh, and I apologize, just very briefly, the heads up for Big Pat's Day.
Oh,
Department is elected not to put on a full social media press. We don't want to add to any consternation that's going on right now. But, for members of the community live here in Riley County, Manhattan, rest assured, we are extraordinarily prepared for this. We will again be working with partners to bring in additional one. We don't want to dictate, rally. We're not here to say what people should or should not be doing. We just want to know, we just want to make sure people are safe. When they're doing what they're doing and of course, we'll be payment. And I think the biggest thing that we can put out for people is if you want to party, it's great. We want you to party, we want you to have a good time. But if you see places that do have no trespassing signs there, respect those homeowners, respect those families and people that live there. Respect your neighbors, respect each other. And the one place that you don't have to worry about presence of law enforcement that's going to be looking for citations is Aggie Mill. Just go hang out at Aggie Mill and have yourself a good time. Other than that, you can't.
Or you wanna have open consumption, you can go downtown.
Yes, you definitely could go downtown. Frequent the businesses and the restaurants there.
You do.
Very, very good. Well, thank you all very much.
okay, do we have any other business?
Uh-oh. Oh.
Oh, signature.
Do I need to put my key fob on there too? Just keys.
I get the instructions, I'll write it on there just to pay my key numbers.
It's weird how they're numbered now that I look at them.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah, I've got, look at mine. I've got, what, 4?
Yeah.
So,
Got
for the other office and then for this.
Hopefully that'll increase here.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Just want to remind everybody, I'll be zooming in on Monday, or at least a
Okay,
portion of the meeting, so
okay,
yeah, I'll be back. Leaving tomorrow and I'll be back on Wednesday.
okay.
Travel safe.
With that, I guess I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adjourn the February 19th meeting of the Riley County Commission.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting of the February 19th meeting of the Riley County Commissioners. All in favor? Aye.